What's happening guys, this is Nagpal for iGyaan, and today we're going to be reviewing the new Gionee Elife E7 Mini. Now this phone was launched back in December and it's been made available in the market for roughly around 18,000 rupees. You can find it online as well as at most of the retailers that carry Gionee smartphones. Now this device has a decent amount of specifications, including a 4.7-inch IPS display out front. You also have a 1280 by 720p resolution. On the inside, however, is a 1.7 GHz octa-core MediaTek 6592 chipset, and this is possibly the only phone in the 18,000 price bracket that comes with this chipset. There are others that would launch for a higher price, but this one has been launched for around an 18,000 price bracket. On the inside is 1 GB of RAM, 16 GB of storage, and it has a dual SIM capability with both SIM cards going in the same SIM slot. Now the highlight of this phone is a 13 megapixel rotating camera, and we'll talk about that when we get to the camera section. And the device on the inside has a 2200 mAh battery. The E7 Mini runs on Android 4.2.2 out of the box and has been overlapped with something that Gionee calls the Amigo user interface. Now versus devices like the E5 and the E6, Amigo is much faster on this, but it does still have a bit of lag that comes with Amigo, and we'll talk about that when we get to the UI section. Right now let's talk about build quality and design. The E7 is quite a looker and it has a fantastic build quality as well. You have polycarbonate all over the device, and the hinge for the camera seems very robust. You can flip the camera around towards the back for making it a main camera, as well as flip it around to the front for taking selfies and whatnot. The hinge is robust, so you won't have any issues, and on both sides of the camera is the earpiece, so no matter where the camera is pointed, you can still take a phone call. The buttons are made out of aluminum, so they're very strong and tactile. Very nice, a refreshing change from the usual plasticky buttons that we've seen from companies. So we are overall very impressed. You do have a slight lip on the front of the device that gives you a on-the-table design sort of, but it won't give you any major protection. Overall, you'll be pretty surprised at the build quality that this device offers, and at 143 grams in weight, this device is slightly heavier than its size, so it gives a reassuring sort of robust build quality sort of feel to the guy who's holding the phone. So pretty impressive. The E7 Mini is available in a bunch of colors, with the white, black, the pink that you see, and a blue coming soon. So you can take your pick from your favorite colors. Out of all the things that may bother people, the biggest complaint that I feel with this device is that it may never get the Android 4.4 update. It runs 4.2.2 out of the box. It does have a decent software update application, but we haven't seen any updates come from the company on this application, so we don't know if you're going to get a frequent update on Android, and we really hope that this device gets 4.4 because it seems like a fantastic product to run that. The UI is much more responsive when compared to devices like the E6, but you still have a bit of lag and a bit of jitter when running through and streaming through applications. Essentially, it removes the need for an application drawer and puts everything out front like you would see on an iPhone or an iOS device. You also have a interesting task manager, which sort of was put in before the iOS 7 was rolled out. So you can say that the card style switcher has been around before iOS 7. Now the front screen can have customized backgrounds, and you can also add folders and change the wallpaper. It has an interesting way of locking the device, so when you unlock the device, the wallpaper sort of blurs in the background, gives you more focus on the icons. So pretty interesting when it comes to the UI. You also have a bunch of interesting applications, including lots of customization applications and battery managers, speed boosters, etc. that will help you manage the RAM, that will help you manage the looks of the device. As far as performance is concerned, we're pretty happy with the octa-core chipset. It will manage anything and everything you throw at it, and in the benchmarks we saw that it scored pretty well. The only thing that limits it is the 1 GB of RAM, which may not be the best thing to have in a device with an octa-core chipset, but it does manage to run mostly all applications that you throw at it, and that too without major lag. The 1 GB of RAM does seem less when you're doing multitasking or switching between applications, which might slow down the usage of the device. So that is sort of not recommended. The device will handle any day-to-day tasks that you can throw at it, and it will run through your day-to-day activities without any problems. So overall performance is good, but the 1 GB of RAM is the only limiting factor. As far as phone call capability is concerned, the phone does a fantastic job. You have great network strength on both SIM cards, and the phone does take in 2 separate SIM cards and one being a smaller SIM card. So phone call network strength was good, and also was data capabilities. We had no complaints with the battery life from the device as well. The audio from the incoming side as well as the outgoing side is good, and you do have a noise cancellation system inbuilt into the device, so you do get a clear audio on the other side. The 2200 milliamp hour battery is sort of less for the device, and we could have expected at least a 3000 from a device that's running on an octa-core chipset. But funnily enough, the device manages to run through the day without any problems. We got an average of about 4.5 hours of talk time with 2 SIM cards in the device, which is pretty impressive. You also will not need a recharge for up to 24 hours with this device, which is again pretty impressive for a modern day smartphone where battery is a major limiting factor. Now coming to the camera is the highlight of this device. You can flip the camera around and take pictures. You have an interesting camera user interface and additional camera applications that allow you to add filters and modify your pictures for fun elements. But overall the camera is pretty good, has impressive color saturation and has great capture capabilities. You get great colors, and overall sharpness from the images is fantastic. The fact that you can flip the camera around, you get a full 13 megapixel shot when taking a frontal picture. So your selfies will have all that megapixel, and you can blow them up and put them in large sizes, print out posters of yourself if you so want to. One thing that you will need to know is that in the front-facing mode, the camera flash will not fire, and that may be on the test device that we are testing, or it may be the final thing that Gionee decides to do, because a front-facing flash would actually blind the user. So it may not be such a great idea, but may come in handy for midnight nightclub sort of selfies, which come out really terrible in low light conditions. So maybe the front flash would have been nice. Overall, the camera does a good job of taking pictures, and low light pictures are also pretty good. So overall, we are impressed. The camera does focus up close as well, and images are mostly impressive. Also have a bunch of features, including a V-shot feature, which allows you to take a picture by just making a V gesture with your hand. That comes in handy as well. Overall, the E7 Mini is possibly the most brilliant device that you can get for an under 18,000 price bracket, or the 18,000 price bracket, because it does have an octa-core chipset in there, and it does have a brilliant use of the Amigo user interface. It's one of the best looking interfaces that we've seen for software, and it's possibly the only young company that comes with a custom UI. You do have companies like Oppo, but the Oppo N1 with a similar camera feature is almost double the price. So you have all those elements in there. The device performs really well. Network strength and phone call capabilities are good. The display is fantastic. You have a 4.7-inch display that is good to touch, and the response from the display is pretty impressive. Build quality is superb with a solid polycarbonate shell, and you do have a frontal lip as well, and the hinge seems robust along with the buttons, which are tactile. So overall, we have no complaints with the device. The only low side being the lack of software updates, or the device should have been on Android 4.4, we feel, and the lack of a dedicated camera button, which would have really made this device very impressive to hold and take pictures with. But possibly the best device you can get for an under 18,000 or an 18,000 price bracket. That's our verdict. Read the full review on iGyaan.in. Catch us on Facebook, Twitter, Google+. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/iGyaan, youtube.com/iGyaanTV.